What up, what up, what up? This is Mike the Philosopher here with another one. This one, Paternity Matters, y'all. Episode 4, okay? We grinding, we trying to get to the bottom of this case. In case you haven't seen the first 3 episodes, go back and watch those. I would advise that because this whole thing will make a whole lot more sense if you follow those and go watch those first 3 episodes. Without further ado, let's go in.
Because of how you felt all these years, you didn't even want to have children. You didn't want to become a father without knowing who your father really is.
Correct. And also, my sexuality is a big part of it as well.
About 2 months ago, I just heard about it. That's why I asked you. I said, let's go out to dinner. I got some personal questions. I want that. Well, you ain't asked me no personal question in 40 years. This is how all this started. I just wanted to know if it was true or not.
Recently, my father had basically said that no gay child or gay grown man is a son of his.
You think I'm finna go, he get married to a man, I'm gonna go to the wedding? I'm not doing none of that. I never will.
That kind of struck me hard.
Broke your heart, I'm sure.
Yeah, it struck me hard, so it added to the anger.
I can't condone it. I'm not gonna condone what I know is wrong. He knows it's wrong. So you want me to condone it?
It's like,
Yes.
I don't even know if I'm angry. I'm something beyond that.
It's a rage that's building up.
Yeah.
I can see it in your eyes
Yeah.
as you're speaking.
And I can't even really, I don't know.
And
Let me say this. This is all kind of, this is a hot mess, man. I feel bad for everybody involved. Scientists have studied homosexuality, okay? And they say it's, for the most part, it's not a genetic thing. It's more of a hormonal thing with the mothers. So the mothers turn people gay. I suspect that the mother in this case, when she was smoking crack, she was changing her hormones in her body, and the hormonal change turned him gay. To me, he's a very I kind of want to say a masculine acting guy. So he's kind of, he acts normal to me. He's not flaming or anything. It's just that listen, for the lack of a better term, I don't know the correct terminology. I'm just saying, he doesn't seem very flamboyant to me. He seems like, now I honestly feel like if his mother wasn't doing drugs, he probably would have turned out straight. I just think so. But because she was doing those drugs, she was hormonally changing him, because homosexuality comes through the mother. Now, if you don't agree with that, argue with the scientists. This is what they said. This ain't my opinion. This is their thing. This is their studies, and they say that the mothers control sexuality. If you're a boy, they're supposed to give you extra testosterone. If you're a girl, they're supposed to give you estrogen. But if they are in distress, they will give boys the estrogen and they will give girls the testosterone. You know what I mean? So if you're curious about that, do some more research on it. But that's just what I found. And if you find it different information, put it in the comments. Correct that. But from what I understand, homosexuality is determined by the mother. So if And I strongly think if she wasn't doing crack, he probably would have had a chance to be straight. Not to say that anything is wrong with being gay though, but you know, it just is what it is. So, you know, let's go back in.
So now he's using your sexuality as another reason why he says he can't be, won't be, and is not worried about being your father.
Those are his exact words.
It is what it is. But if she had came to me and said, well, listen, this may be your baby. Okay, well, let's go see. But she didn't say that. The exact words she said to me was, don't worry about it. This is not your child. I'm not sure. That's all she had to say. Then we could have went and did the DNA, whatever, blood test, whatever. I wouldn't have been mad with her because I knew what it was for, you know what I'm saying, before she got pregnant. I knew, you know what I mean? I knew what kind of woman she was at that time.
I hold myself responsible for a lot of things that went on back then, but I'm truly grateful for him to stand up as a man to want to know who his dad is.
When a mother tells a man, this is not your child, that's it. Don't you think? If you tell a man, your child you carrying in your stomach ain't his child, what do you think you expect him to do?
Right.
No matter what he thinks, what you expect him to do? So I watched maternity court. Yeah, people, these children, not even born, cuss this man out, left and right. And when the man say, well, he's not the father, they don't say nothing to the mama.
Right.
Not one word.
Right.
But you don't cuss this man out for all, and got all this animosity with this man because of your mom. You don't say a word to her, but you don't cuss this.
That's what I was saying. Mothers have God status. Okay. They can do no wrong in the eyes of their kids. Do no wrong. Even though you was a crack fiend mama, you was a black queen mama. Okay, when it come to the daddy, you ain't ish, you ain't that, you ain't never been there, you ain't never gonna be nothing. They just, even if the father was right, or even if the guy was right, they get the results. You're not the father. Some of them can apologize, say I'm sorry, but most of them will still hold a grudge towards that guy, and he's not even the father and been proven not to be the father. They will still hold a grudge to him. Their mother, oh well, mama, I'm sorry, give me a hug. Okay, you did your best. Now, does it happen like that all the time? No. Some kids may have a little bit of a grudge towards mama if the results come back negative. But oftentimes, mothers get away with a whole lot more than the fathers do. A whole lot more. Lying, lies upon lies upon lies. And this is what this guy is talking about. Yeah, you hate and hate and hate on me, but your mother, you ain't doing that with your mother. You just not. And that's part of the unfairness with being a father, is that fathers don't got God status, mothers do, especially in the West. Okay, so let's go back in.
This man not you. You don't know if that's your dad or not. Hell, she don't know how the hell you know.
Right.
But you done cuss this man. Don't even apologize to the man. That's wrong.
Right.
I don't care how you cut that. If that had been my mom. I didn't know my biological mom. I tried to get to know. So, 2 times while she was living, 3rd time she was in the car. Man blew her brain out. But I ain't had no animosity. I just wanted to know if she was my mom. She didn't, you know what I'm saying? She didn't, I guess she didn't care. But that made me take care of my children more. But if I was to meet my father today, I wouldn't have no animosity against him because I don't know what him and my mama was going through. I can't blame neither one. I wasn't even born.
He never put forth the effort to at least try to find out if I'm his son or not. I shouldn't have to wait 41 years and then I'm doing the footwork to make this happen.
Amen. Because you reached out to me.
Correct. Yeah.
You reached out to me. I got your email.
Yes, ma'am.
And you just had decided, this is it. I want to get down to the bottom of this.
After seeing your shows, I mean, it's like the ending, the process, the love that you showed them. I mean, it was amazing. So I was like, this is the person I wanted to share my story with. So
Oh, honey,
I decided to reach out.
I'm so glad you did.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm so glad you did. And that's why we do this. Every testimony encourages someone else to share theirs. And it means the world to me that the work we were able to do gave you the courage to reach out to me directly. And we are here today because of this.
Yes, ma'am.
Regardless of what the test come out to be, I'm gonna kind of be sad, but at the same time glad, that it's about over. So.
I'm gonna stick by him through thick and thin, regardless of what situation it is. I'm still gonna be the mom, and I'm still gonna be the dad, regardless.
On next week's episode, Rashard finally gets the truth about his paternity.
You might have a bouncing baby boy, huh?
Y'all, if there's one thing I'm sick of, it's definitely the baby mama, baby daddy drama. Like, the red flags weren't enough to stop y'all, and then we gotta hear about it all day? Yeah, no thanks. Imagine being Krishan Rock and having Blueface as your child's father. The public humiliation, the fights, the denying of you, the denying of your child, all while trying to bring a healthy baby into this world? Girl, just toxic. So sad Krishan really felt the need to go to Instagram Live just to confirm that Blueface is indeed the father after he took a DNA test. We already knew that. I'm glad he took the test. Now that the results are in, I'm praying that he's a better father than he is a rapper. Now can y'all please take us out the group chat? Because we don't need the drama. And y'all want to know who else don't need the drama? My sis, Beyonce. Because we learned a 30-year-old named Ramir is going around these streets claiming to be Jay-Z's alleged son. But the resemblance is resembling, okay? Now, I know a lot of y'all think this is funny, but this secret son ain't nothing to be played with. He has filed a Supreme Court order to make Hov take a DNA test. I don't know whether or not Jay-Z is going to take this test to prove whether he is or he ain't the father. But what I do know is that Ramir deserves the truth, period. And Ramir, if it turns out that Jay-Z is indeed your father, just remember, I'm your cousin.
That was funny. The Krishan and Blueface, I probably at this point in celebrity news can't think of a more toxic couple than those two. Horrible example of how to do relationships. Somehow seem to be blasted all over the internet, maybe on TV. And I'm gonna just keep it real. Blueface is such a trash rapper. I'm not even sure how this guy is famous. Krishan, I'm not even sure what she does. These people are millionaires, maybe. How? Why? I have no idea. Why people care? I have no idea. It is a train wreck. It is a train wreck. As for the other guy who claiming to be Jay-Z's son, Supreme Court, wow. Can I see some resemblance? You can find a little bit of resemblance, but anybody can do that. There's a lot of people who can claim resemblance to Jay-Z. Even if you are, you're not gonna be in the will. Probably not gonna be in the will. I don't know. After suing him in the Supreme Court and all this other stuff, But at the same time, everybody does deserve the right to know who their parents is. Short story. I had a young lady at 16 years old come to me, tell me that she thinks that I'm her dad. I said, what? After 16 years? Now, mind you, I knew of her. I knew about her. I spent time with her. I was somewhat a part of her life. It's a long story. So she was always in proximity with me. But she said the guy who was on my birth certificate took a test, and the test came back, he's not my father. Therefore, I think you are my father. I said, you know what? Everybody deserves the right to know who their parents is. You want me to take a test? I'll take a test. Okay. Went, took the test, found out she was my first daughter. Okay. So that's a little personal story from Mike the Philosopher. Hit the like for that story right there. Okay. So I've always felt like people deserve the right to know who their parents is. Found out I had another daughter, actually my first daughter, which I thought I had another first daughter, but it ended up being my second daughter. So paternity matters, man. I'm a living testament to that, and let me tell you, I didn't say it was rosy after that. I mean, we still had some things we had to iron out. But I tell you this part, even though that whole thing happened 16 years ago, and her mother named another guy as the father, and he signed a birth certificate, this, that, and the third, somehow it was all my fault. And I'm like, whoa. This is how I got to the conclusion that women have God status. I'm like, wait a minute. Your mother said I wasn't the father. She chose another guy. She put another guy on the birth certificate. But you mad at me? I didn't understand that. Needless to say, we worked that part out. But it's just amazing how much leniency women get and the mothers get, and how much flack the fathers get. It's baffling to me. But at the end of the day, I would do it all over again. Why? Because everybody deserves the right to know who their parents are. All that being said, let's go back in.
Today in the Men's Den, we're talking prison, pain, parenting, and limitless possibilities.
So you went to prison for 2 years.
Correct.
Because of the Medicaid fraud within your business.
Correct.
Did you keep a relationship with your children during that time? And how did you parent during that time? I think that is a very relatable, that's something, as a former criminal defense attorney, which is how I started in Detroit, I often witnessed my clients having to figure out how to parent, how to father, mothers too, but a lot of fathers, how to father from prison.
Right.
And how to be present as best they can. And the big question with many families that I've gone over with them is whether or not they want the mother to bring the child to prison to see them in there. That's a big thing.
Right.
How did you manage that?
So my son he was older. So around the time, he was about 16 years old. He knew about everything going on.
Okay.
So my son knew. Now my daughters were young. They were at the time, they were probably around 4 and 6 years old. So my ex-wife ended up telling my daughters, your dad is on a business trip and everything. So one of my daughters, she was talking to one of the middle child who's 6 years old. She was talking to one of her friends. I guess they were talking about what did our dads do and everything. So she Googled me. And when she Googled me, that's how she found out I was in prison.
Oh.
And then she went and talked to her mom about it.
How did you stay in touch with your children? How did you connect with your children? How did you honor the bond,
Right.
the covenant you make with your child as their father, to be their protector, their person, when you're behind bars? How were you able to do that?
So my son, I talk to my son almost every day. My daughters, I didn't talk to them probably until the last 2 months when I was about to be released.
So you didn't talk to your daughters for the whole 2 years before, except for the last 2 months?
Right. When I called, she wouldn't accept any of my calls.
So you would call and your ex-wife would say she wouldn't accept the call.
Correct.
The fight that you've been in for all of this time, it takes a toll on you.
It does. I mean, I speak a lot about just mental health and how it affects my mental health. Obviously, I was in the Army over 10 years. I deployed 3 times to Iraq, lost 2 soldiers. So that's heavy for me as well. My kids are the reason why I'm alive. So going through this has just been extremely difficult. I didn't grow up. I've been on my own navigating through life since I was 16 years old. My mother was addicted to alcohol. My father was incarcerated most of my life. They're both gone. They both have been gone for about 11 years now. So it's the reason why I approach fatherhood with such fervor, because I know what it's like to not have that. I know what it's like to not have the support from your parents, and I envy those who have those relationships with their parents. I didn't grow up feeling loved or even wanted. So for me, I wanted to make sure that my children never felt like that. Whatever me and their mother go through, that's what we go through.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure that my kids never felt like that.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, all of this is just it's just hard.
And that's why the fight. That's why you fight. And
For
I'll
sure.
say this to you, on paternity court, many times, I would have adult children, and when I give them an opportunity to speak to their parent, and they would say, "Why didn't you fight for me, though?" Just even the filing of the case, the fight is so validating sometimes, just to say that I fought for you. I tried. This is what I believed in, and I tried. I also think with every situation, we have to look at the...
Oh my goodness. Adult kids say, and the tear drops from a brother's eyes. The adult kids say, "Why didn't you fight for me?" Your mother said I wasn't the father. Your mother said I wasn't the father. Or your mother was a crack addict. And she had many other men. Why didn't I fight for you? Your mother know more than I would. I'm not with her 24/7. I don't know what her situation is. I'm not with her. She would know more than I would. That's what I would. That's actually what I ended up telling my daughter. Your mother know more than I do. Your mother knows who she been with. Your mother put another dude name on the birth certificate at that time. Why would you expect me to fight for that when I don't know? And my daughter is pretty bright. She's very, very light skinned. She's lighter than both me and her mother. So I was always like, it's a high possibility I'm not the father. Now I know you say, oh, you can't go by skin tone, this, that, and the third, but you know, look, I was younger then, you know what I mean? And I'm like, she lighter than her mother, and I'm super chocolatey. Okay, so I had enough information to say, you know what? She would know better than me. She was with the guy she claimed to be the father at the time. So why would I question it? Why would I question it? Why didn't you fight for me? I had no weapons to fight with. I had no weapons to fight with. Now, let me keep it all the way 100. And look, this is getting real kind of personal, but for the cause, I'm telling my own story here. So let me keep it all the way 100. A part of me felt like it was a possibility. And here's the deal. When she had our daughter in the hospital, first of all, I didn't know I was the father, but she had the baby girl in the hospital. I said to the mother, you need to get a test. She insisted on not getting a test. Why? Because she was in love with the guy who's on the birth certificate, with her boyfriend. She said, I am not getting a test. That is his baby. I said this to her laying down in her hospital bed. That is a big mistake. You need to figure out if I'm the father or if he's the father. This could mess up a whole life if you don't do this right now. She said, there's no need to do it. I know who I was with, and I'm not getting no test. And unbeknownst to me, he signed the birth certificate. I was gone by that time. But by the time it was time to do the paperwork, he was there and he signed the birth certificate. They were convinced that it wasn't me. And then she came out, my daughter came out with practically blue eyes. No lie. Practically blue eyes. And very light skin and reddish hair at the time. And I'm like, yo, I don't think that's my kid. I had nothing to fight with. I had nothing to feel like I was the father. The baby looked not only nothing like me, but not even like my other kids. And she was very bright. Now, shout out to my daughter. You know who you are. You know I love you infinitely. And I am sorry that it all went down the way that it did. I had limited control over how everything transpired. I had limited knowledge on everything that transpired because I didn't know who she was with. But I do strongly believe paternity matters. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm kind of giving y'all a piece of me right now, right? It is very important that people know who their parents are. But when you're dealing with a party who is pretty much given all the cards to make decisions, you're limited on how much you can do. Now, why didn't you fight for me? Because I had no weapons to fight with. And besides all that, you look nothing like me at the time of your birth. You look nothing like me. I still felt like it was a possibility, so I mentioned it and to take the test. Mother didn't want to take the test. Well, why didn't you go to court and issue a court test and stuff like that? When I seen my daughter, I didn't feel like that was enough to warrant to go to court. And I'm just keeping it real. Okay, at this point, I had a wife and I had other kids. I had a wife and I had other kids. And I can't necessarily say that, look, I don't have no crystal ball. If I'm being honest, if she looked more like me, I probably would have thought about it a little bit more. I'm gonna just keep it real. But my daughter is very bright skinned. So I was like, it's probably not me. And I know her mother, so I know it was a possibility that it wasn't me. Okay? So there's a lot of factors involved. But I say all that to say, fathers get a bad rap and they get blamed a lot more than the mothers do. All those questions she was asking me, she should have been asking her mother. For real. Why are you asking me? Ask your mother. Ask your mother why she said it was no possibility. Ask your mother why she insisted on putting another dude on the birth certificate. Ask your mother. Don't ask me. But you got animosity towards me? Let's continue.
The yin and the yang of it.
Yeah.
That while the fight is evidence of you trying, the fight can't be forever. We must find evolution in resolution. And I often say legal resolution can lead to emotional evolution.
Yeah.
And that at some point, when you have exhausted all of your legal remedies, and whether it goes your way or if it doesn't, I pray that you find a path for peace and acceptance in whatever it is, knowing, as I always say, there are still limitless possibilities. There are still ways. It's unbelievable. And I know right now you are very angry with, your children's mother, and you feel like you can't forgive and you feel like you can't move on. Many co-parents, many formerly married people have been in those spaces. But miracles do happen, and it may be 10 years from now where your daughter's getting married. And it might just be that moment where you can stand in that picture together and have a smile. Have that moment that you thought you'd never be able to have because you've evolved out of the pain, knowing that you did everything you could, and your children know you did everything you could. And most importantly, as you said, they know you love them.
Yeah.
They know that they are loved.
My daughter and her mom, we had a baby young. We was never together. Mm-hmm. We was never in a relationship. We just did things that grown people do and made a kid early. I don't want to talk bad about my baby mama because we actually cool now.
Good.
And if you watch this summer, we good.
That's good.
But it was bad in the beginning. I didn't know how to be a father. So when my daughter was born, I didn't know if she was mine.
Okay.
I knew what we done, so I'm not, I wasn't denying that, but
You didn't know if perhaps she had been with someone else
well,
because you weren't in a committed
we wasn't in a
relationship.
committed relationship. That was the first thing my grandmother said. It was always mama's baby, daddy's maybe. So
Papa's maybe.
so
Right.
it was one of those type of situations. So when she told me she was pregnant, I tried to be there as much as I could. Me being still young at the time too. So when I found out, or that she was still messing with other guys,
Yes.
I kind of drifted away.
Well, yeah, because you at that point felt like, well, I'm not the only person involved here.
Right. So my baby mama put me through hell. We went. It was bad, man. It was bad until my daughter was about 13 or 14. And
It was bad in what way?
everything, man. My baby mama told everybody she could. She would come tell you that Derek is a deadbeat daddy.
Okay.
She.
Were you taking care of your?
I was doing what I could do at the time.
Okay. Were you on child support, or you?
I
were
was
just...
on child support.
Okay.
I did what I could do at the time. I would say. I wasn't even all the way together at 21, 22, 23. Right. So I was, continuing trying to find myself out in the world. My daughter, when she turned 14, I never forget, she told me, she said, Dad, I'm really starting to see my mom for Shambra and not just for my mom. And when she came and told me that, I was like, well, what you mean? She was like, well, I kind of see some of the things that you have been trying to tell me. And I was like, yes, I've been trying to tell you this since you was 2. And now me and my daughter, we have like the perfect relationship. She's 19, married. She's in Korea right now. She's in the Army.
Oh, wonderful. It's about the journeys, right?
Yeah,
I talked about, I said, a wild ride through fatherhood.
Right.
And through you 3 gentlemen, we have gone on 3 wild rides. but
Yeah, it is a wild ride. And for the record, me and my daughter, we could, we could be better, but that's tomorrow on over. That's another story. But a lot of the fathers do catch the brunt of the frustration because they have their mothers have God status. Now, it's key what he said. He said his daughter told him that she started seeing her mother as Brianna instead of Mama. That means she took her out of God status and put her into human status. Okay, she started calling her by her first name. That's what happened to me with my parents too. As kids, you kind of put your parents in God status, but when you start to learn, you know what? They're only human beings, man. They're gonna make some mistakes, mama and daddy. Okay? When I took my parents off their pedestal that I had them on, I actually got along with them a lot better because I didn't have the expectations that I did before. I said, you know what? They're human beings, man. They're gonna make mistakes. They ain't perfect. They're perfect to be my parents, but they ain't perfect human beings. And they're not, omniscient and, omnibenevolent, or, they're not, they're just not. They're human beings, and human beings make mistakes. And I have to prepare myself mentally for the fact that my parents going to make mistakes, and my kids need to prepare themselves for the fact that I'm going to make mistakes, and it just is what it is. And as parents, they going to make mistakes. So it was key what his daughter said. She started looking at her like a human being. And once she done that, she could get along with everybody better after that. Let's go in.
Right? Ending in basically the same place is a father's true and real, committed and determined love for their children. and the way you fight your way back, or you just hold on for dear life until the smoke clears or things resolve, or you have the time, space, and grace to approach it in a different way. I mean, it doesn't get any realer than that.
On the next episode of Paternity Matters, I get the truth for Rashar and lounge with the ladies as they reflect on their relationships with their fathers.
Patricia from Inglewood wrote in. She says, "Dear Judge Lake, my daughter got pregnant last year while she was in high school, and the father of her child is not doing anything for the baby. All of the responsibilities falling on me. I'm getting super frustrated. I love my daughter. I love my grandchild, but I feel like the father should step in and do more. Can you help me resolve this?" Well, I mean, if there's no question of paternity, has there been a question of paternity? Did you really talk to your daughter about maybe why that young man is not really, connecting with the baby? I think there's a lot of questions that you haven't answered. I always tell people, try to have a conversation in the living room before you have it in the courtroom, because it gets expensive. Sit both of them down and have a conversation. If he needs clarification to make sure he's the father, get the paternity test and start from there.
Hey family, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on post.
Yeah, good advice. Have it in the living room before you have it in the courtroom. It's free in the living room, costs you money in the courtroom. So get that done. Make sure he's the father. And you may find out you don't know your daughter as well as you thought you did. You know what I mean? Men it's like I said before, it's almost as if women, not all women, but a lot of women just feel like men don't have a right to question paternity. You talking about being stuck with a child for the next 20 years and taking a substantial amount of your wealth. Why wouldn't you question if that's your baby or not? Men have every right in the world to question if they're the father of a child. It's really not fair to the men, but the women hold most of the cards in most cases. Not only do they get support from the court systems, but they get support from public opinion. They just get support from everybody. And the men are like, yo, you don't know your daughter. He probably like, you don't know your daughter. You think I'm the only one? Sorry, Miss Jackson. I am for real. I never meant to make your daughter cry. But still, I just think that, people need to, show some men some more grace, because it's not easy, and it's a huge responsibility, and it's one that both parties partake in. But a lot of times when it's a question, I would say what Judge Lake said: get the test, because you know where to go after that. Get the test, get the paternity test, find out who the father is, because it is a possibility, small possibility, that he ain't the father, and that's why he's moving the way he's moving. All that being said, what do y'all think about this episode? Put it in the comments. I know I went a little heavy on this one. Hit the like for that, okay? Hit the like, share, and subscribe for more great stories from the philosopher. I would appreciate that. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace.